Guys, today I want to talk about why it's so important to quit smoking in 2024. I'm sure we all know why. It's awful, it's horrible for you. But we should talk about why and we should talk about how, because smoking this day and age is just something we shouldn't be doing. And if you stick around till the end, I'll tell you how I finally quit for good. One of these methods worked for me. I don't know if it'll work for you. I don't know if any of them will work for you, but it's definitely something that you should try. Um, so, yeah, let's get into it. Why you should quit smoking? Well, the obvious. We all know that smoking is a horrible, horrible habit. People are dying every day of smoking, of cancer. It's terrible watching someone die of cancer. We've all seen it. We've all heard of it. We've had loved ones die of cancer, and it's not a nice thing to watch happen. People rot in bed. You watch them either in a hospital bed in the hospital or at your house. They rot until they're dead, a slow, painful death. So nobody wants that. Your kids don't want that. Your parents don't want to see that. Your wife, your family, your friends. Nobody wants to watch you die. So that's the obvious reason why you should quit smoking, and because of your health. It's not good for you. Having said that, um, what else is it? It's very expensive. I don't know where you are, but in Canada, a pack of cigarettes now is like $15 or $20 for a large pack. That's crazy. When I was a kid and I was smoking, um, I think we were buying cigarettes for like $3 or $4 a pack. Now it's gone up big time. So it's very unaffordable. I mean, even if you're buying the cheaper cigarettes in a bag or whatnot for a quarter of the price, those are just going to kill you even faster. So financially, it doesn't make sense. You could be putting that money towards something else. You could put it towards going out with your family. You can put it towards a vacation once a year. There's lots of beneficial things you can do by saving that money instead of smoking it, and you'll live longer. So that's another reason. What are the other obvious reasons? It stinks. Nobody wants to smell you. I mean, when you go out for a cigarette and you come back in and you're with other people who aren't smoking, they can smell it. They can smell the cigarettes on you. It's disgusting. Nobody wants to smell it. You know it. I know it. We both know that it stinks. So it's that. It's all over your clothes. It's in your hair. It's on your hat. It's on your fingers. You can scrub your hands all you want with soap and water. Your fingers, your hands, you still stink. So it's not ideal. Your breath stinks after having cigarettes. You can chew gum. It's still not going to mask it. It still stinks. Nobody wants to smell the cigarettes. So that's another reason. Another good reason, when you're at work and you're constantly nicking, you get there at 8 o'clock in the morning, let's say, and you just finish having a bunch of cigarettes on your walk, on your drive, on your commute to work, and you're good. You get in there and you're just watching the clock, tick tock, watching that thing. So 9:30, 10 o'clock, your first break rolls around. You're just dying for a cigarette. You want to get out there and smoke as many as you can. It's not a good feeling, but you do anyway. You run out there, you run outside by yourself in a corner, whether it's dark, raining, snowing, it doesn't matter, and you smoke as many cigarettes as you can. 15-minute breaks over, you come back in, you sit down, you're good for half an hour, and then you start nicking again. You get those cravings. You're like, oh, what am I going to do? Lunch is another hour and a half away. So you're not even working productively at this point, because all you can think about is your next cigarette, how you're going to get out there and smoke three or four, and that those cigarettes are going to cut into your eating time. So why bother eating? Because it's going to cut into your smoking time. So you're going to keep smoking at break time. It's going to be noon. You're going to be smoking your face off out there, coming back in. Again, your next break, what time? 2 o'clock, 2:30. You're just dying to have a cigarette. You're trying to get out there as quick as possible and smoke more. It's not a good habit. It's not good. You know it. I know it. Enjoy the day. Why not do something beneficial? Go out there and do some push-ups. Go up there and go for a walk. You don't have to spend your 30 minutes of lunch smoking the entire time, because it's a nice day out sitting on a bench smoking. You can go for a walk and enjoy the fresh air, the sights, the sounds, whatever. So that's another reason why you should quit smoking. Now, how to quit smoking, that's a totally different story. There's a million different things that everybody tells you that works, and it works for some people and it works for other people, but it might not work for you. I tried many things. I smoked for years, and there was only one thing that finally um, got me to quit. I'll discuss that later at the end of this video, but things you can do, the obvious, you can quit cold turkey. Hard as hell to do, but it can be done. I know people who've quit cold turkey. You just basically say, I'm done with cigarettes, and that's it. You don't smoke again, and you just fight it. And after time, the cravings go away, and you're done. That's it. Usually, you start back smoking again. Most people I know do, but it takes a few tries before you can actually quit permanently, usually, with my experience anyway. Um, what else can you do to quit smoking? There's nicotine gum and nicotine patches. It gives you nicotine to supplement instead of smoking. Going out and smoking cigarettes, you're getting nicotine through a patch or through the chewing gum. Do I know people who have quit with this? Yes. But they tend to fall back and smoke again eventually. I don't think that's how you finally quit, but for some people it may work. That way didn't work for me, but I know people who have quit from that as well. Now, the vaporizer is relatively new. Nicotine vaporizer. You can vape, I guess. We don't know much about it other than it's probably not good for you. It's probably just as bad, if not worse, than cigarettes, but it is definitely a way to wean yourself off of cigarettes. I know people who have quit smoking, but now they're on the vaporizer full time, which probably isn't as good, but at least you're not having that stink associated with cigarettes. I don't know what it's doing to your lungs. I'm sure it's not good, but regardless, that's a way to stop smoking. What else can work? Switching out cigarettes for something else. If you're going to quit, you should probably have something ready to do instead of smoking, whether it's chewing gum, eating hard candies, getting healthy, working out, doing push ups, doing chin ups, have a daily routine of doing something like that. That'll definitely help. Now, when I quit smoking, I have an addictive personality. When I get into something, I like to stay in it. I get hooked on it. And so I was smoking for years. And the way I finally quit was the vaporizer. I was out one day and someone was smoking one. And I said, "Oh, what is that? It smells good." And he said, "It's a vaporizer and it's got this many milligrams and it's this brand and that brand." And he let me try it. And I had to haul off that thing. And I thought, "Oh, it's not too bad or whatever. Okay." So the next day I bought one because I had wanted to quit smoking cigarettes for years. So the next day I went out and bought the same one that this guy had let me try. And I bought the same milligrams as him. And now this was 50 milligrams of nicotine. It was a lot of nicotine. I don't even know if they sell that anymore. I don't know how it works, but it was 50 milligrams in these little cartridges that you put in it and you would inhale that. So the next morning, I went out and I bought this thing. I didn't have any cigarettes that morning. I was waiting for this vaporizer thing. And then I went to the vape store. I bought the juice. I bought the same one. I bought the 50 milligram nicotine. And I had a good couple of pulls off that. And wow, that that really made me feel sick. It was like a lot of nicotine. It was wow. So after a few pulls of that, I sort of felt sick. I was lightheaded, and I was just like, that was strong. So whatever, put it in my pocket. Continued working throughout the day. Didn't even want a cigarette. That's how bad it was. Like I got so much nicotine, I guess, in those first few pulls of the day that I was good. So again, around it wasn't until about 3 o'clock. That was probably at like 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, I guess, after the store opened. Probably nine. I didn't want any nicotine again. I wasn't craving again until around 3 o'clock. So at 3 o'clock, I pulled that thing out again. And I had a couple more puffs off that, and yeah, again, just boom, just made me feel sick. It was way too much nicotine um, that I was taking in, and it made me not want to smoke again. So I didn't smoke that entire evening. And the next day, I woke up, and you have your coffee, you do your morning routine, and then I left the house for work, and I thought, oh, okay, this is normally when I would have a cigarette, so I'm gonna have a pull off this thing. I did that for maybe 2 days, and every time I took that vaporizer, that big amount of nicotine, I just felt sick. So I did it probably 2 days, 2.5 days of that, and that was it. That's all I needed to know that this is disgusting. It made me feel sick. I did not like it at all. I did not like getting that much nicotine, and I definitely didn't like vaping. But either way, I knew that I wasn't going back to the cigarettes. I knew I was not sticking with this vaporizer, so I stopped smoking the vaporizer. I stopped using it altogether. I would leave it at home. Now, the hard part was where I work, other people smoked. So, they're smoking in front of me. They're offering me cigarettes. They're saying, "Oh, you're not smoking." And I would say, "No, I'm not." I told them what I did with the vaporizer pen, and they all said the same thing. They're like, "Whoa, 50 milligrams of nicotine. That's a lot. You shouldn't have started on that much. You should have started with something smaller." Um, and I said, "Well, I think I'm glad that I started with 50 milligrams because I don't want to smoke." So after smoking steady for, I guess 10 years for sure, I quit, and another day would go by, and another day would go by. 3 or 4 days in, I wasn't using a vaporizer anymore. I wasn't smoking. I wasn't doing anything. Um, So it was pretty good. I'm thinking, well, this is good. I got this licked. Days went by hour went by, and the hard part was when people were smoking around me. It's so easy to get one off them, but I didn't take them. I didn't give in. I didn't ask for them. I didn't go out and buy cigarettes. I knew I wanted to quit, and I think when you're quitting, you have to know you want to quit. So I knew I wanted to quit, and I knew I was done with smoking. So I quit smoking. I haven't had a cigarette in probably, I don't even know, almost 10 years now. I picked up different habits instead of the smoking. I started eating better. I started eating less crap, I guess, like fast foods and whatnot. Um, and I started getting healthy. Eventually, I started working out. I did gain a couple of pounds from not smoking because I was probably eating more. But as soon as I noticed gaining weight that I didn't like, which is a whole nother video in itself, I started doing workouts and I started working out to lose the weight, and I did. And I started staying healthier. Either way, I've come a long way. You can too. If you want to quit smoking, now is the time to do it. I don't think you should run out and get a vaporizer pen and get 50 milligrams of nicotine. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just telling you how it worked for me. And after years and years of smoking steadily, a pack a day, regularly, and spending my money on it and getting unhealthy from it, that's how I quit. And I quit quick. And I knew I didn't want to go back to smoking, and I haven't since. I would never even dream of having a cigarette now. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't. And it took a while for that feeling to go away. When I was quitting, days went by, weeks went by, but it was always in the back of my brain that, oh, when am I going to have that next cigarette? When am I going to have it? I'm doing good, but eventually I can have another one. I always had this feeling that I'll smoke again, and that, I'll be honest with you, that took like 3 years to get that out of my head. It was always back there. I don't know if it's the good conscience, bad conscience, and the bad conscience. Your reptilian brain telling you, oh yeah, smoke, smoke. But either way, that's the hardest part of it, was saying no to that, and just forgetting about that altogether. And that took about 3 years before that went away. And then now I would never even dream of having another cigarette. And I'm thankful it worked, and I'm thankful for the way I quit. So, like I said, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I don't care if you've been smoking 2 years or 30 years, you can do it. It takes a little bit of willpower. It really isn't that hard. It's only hard for the first few days. But what I would say is find a way to get off the cigarettes. Don't buy the cigarettes anymore and get onto something else. Jump onto something else, whether it's working out, whether it's meditation, whether it's yoga, whatever you do something more productive than smoking, because you'll be thankful for it. Your family will thank you for it. And yeah, we both know it's time to quit. So it's time to quit. Do what you can to quit. Good talking to you. And if you want to learn more or hear more from me, the next video we'll talk about something else.